Hey, what's up, positive people? Is B plus, and you are tuned into a very special edition of the Recap Countdown. My guest today, in my eyes, is one of the unsung legends in our space. He's been doing this thing for 15 years. He's known as having one of the dopest pens in CHH. He's not only a rapper, he's an accomplished producer, Grammy nominated. Is that correct?
That's right.
Also played keys for CHH greats like KB, Lecrae. The list goes on. He was a member of not one, but two of the most critically acclaimed Christian hip hop groups of all time, and We Live as Kings, and also High Society Collective. And more importantly, he's a child of God. He's a husband. He's a father. And I'm just going to introduce to some and present to others the Acktown rapper himself, Mr. Swoope. Say what's up to the people.
Yo. You know I love it when people tell the truth. It's good to be here, man.
I'm a truth sayer, man.
Yeah. No, it's good to be here. We talked a little bit offline before this, man. I'm a fan of your show and your long-standing support of the movement at large, but then also as an individual artist, man. So it is literally my honor to be here.
Man, that means a lot. That means a lot because I feel like I'm like an accidental CHH media outlet person. I'm just a fan who just been covering the genre for a little while, and to get that kind of feedback and to hear that from different artists means a whole lot. So so grateful to have you here, and let's go ahead and get into this album review. I try to make these things as unique as possible, just because you guys, quite frankly, put a whole lot into making these albums. And in your case, you don't put out albums twice a year. You don't put out albums every 2 years. Sometimes it's even 3 years. So you're a patient person with your music. So I don't like to hear it out and be like, oh, I can't wait for the next one, or try to rush to do a review like this. Some people do reviews and the next day. I'm like, how? Some people you can, but some artists I don't believe you can really do it justice. Yeah. So that's why I like to have like this long form album review. So we're gonna go ahead and hop into things. For those who don't or haven't checked out a Recap Countdown before, simply what I do is I pick out my 5 favorite bars, my 4 favorite beats, my 3 favorite tracks, my 2 favorite features, and I'll round everything out with one final recap. So I'm very excited. Because it's no shock. If you follow me on any social platform, you know that I always say Swoope is my favorite rapper. So it's not every day you get to sit down with your favorite rapper and talk about his latest album. So that's what we're going to do. And let's go ahead and get into my 5 favorite bars.
5 bars.
How I miss the soul, more than some will ever know. That's Kirk on what you're looking for. Them words real early hit my soul. When I heard that as a kid, it's no way I could know the meaning. My mama played me that CD. I guess she knew that I need it. And you'll never get over it. But what I'm starting to notice is the point is not to get over it or go around it, but grow around it. You're so surrounded, uneducated, don't know how to grieve, and everybody thinks it's only one way to do it properly, and that's to cry for weeks. But I'm fatigued and I ain't cried in weeks. I'm kinda tired, please give me time to breathe. In the dark, is death a blessing or not? Will certain lessons ever get learned if loved ones never slept in the side? Grief ain't like Netflix at all. Can't choose your seasons or when to exit the plot. Pressure's a lot. On the show today, cause true pain is Wu-Tang. Putting on my ghost face when dudes saying Swoope ain't giving y'all the Monets. High up, hold up, take me out of Rapzilla, put me in the MoMA. I'm chasing my...
Yeah. That felt like an award show where it's like, well, what do I do with my face while these different bars? I tried to do the youth pastor, like just sit back. You know? No, that's fire, bro. That's fire.
Man, I gotta start off with number 5. This is one of those times where, like, in listening to your music, I can tell that though I'm from Ohio too. I'm from Cincinnati, so
let's go.
So there's some connection there, but then also the way you were able to tie in that old Kirk Franklin song, and some people that just kind of runs right past them. They didn't understand what you were saying, what you were talking about. But I distinctly remember, like one of the first times hearing that song about Kirk was talking about who he refers to as his mother, and because my mother, she didn't have a mother. Her mother passed away when she was like 5,
Mm-hmm,
So and I distinctly remember hearing that song and my mom just being shook by it. Like, dang, like I miss my mom. And I never even got to meet my mom.
mm-hmm,
So like,
mm-hmm.
so that song always like had a special part in my heart, or had a special section in my heart. But the way you wrote that bar, like, can you tell us about that thought process into digging into like those gospel roots to make that bar?
Yeah, I mean, I think my gospel, as you said, gospel roots are pretty evident in my albums. I say all the time, all roads lead back to gospel music. This one has special significance because, you know, all of my bars are true. Sometimes they're retroactively true, but this one is in real time true. My mother bought me the What You're Looking For CD by Kirk Franklin and the Family. And I mean, it's bangers on there. It's bangers on there.
It really is.
Hidden gem called Mama's Song. You know, towards the back of the album, they do this section of, you know, Conquerors, Savior More Than Life, Mama's Song, where it's just Kirk and the piano.
Yeah.
And my mom is sitting next to me, and I remember hearing him sing, "How I Miss Her So More Than You'll Ever Know," and just like my mom right there, but I feel the emotion of missing my mom. And when my mother passed, it just had deeper and double significance. So I knew that line was gonna go past people, because that's not, you know, Mama's Song on What You're Looking For is not Kirk Franklin's Revolution on New Nation Project. It ain't one of the bangers. But when I wrote this verse, because this verse morphed into a different song, when I wrote this verse, it was just therapeutic, and I'm just writing to the Lord, you know. So the fact that it may have gone over people's head, I'm okay with that, because the people that know how deep of a bar that is.
Yes sir. And then also, people just don't run to Kirk for his singing. So when they hear Kirk singing, they're just kind of like, oh, like, I want him to jump around and do his same dance move he's been doing for. They want to see that. So so that was dope. Moving on to number 4. Now, my hope in you, when you were talking about in the bar, I don't have the lyrics in front of me, but you were talking about how like it grows around you. For some reason, when I was listening to this album the first time, and when I heard that bar, it just reminded me, that bar reminded me of the actual album cover. I felt like because you're in the album art, you're walking, you're surrounded by flowers and by water. So I feel like that bar really spoke to like the album art. Was that intentional, or is that just something just me being listening?
It wasn't, bro. And you're actually pulling a different perspective out of the bar than the way that I wrote it. So I love that, because it speaks to the authenticity of the art, where it's kind of like we can look at a diamond and everyone is going to have different perspectives based on what disposition they are to the prism. What I said and meant was we don't go around grief, we grow around grief. So I love the perspective that things grow around us, because that's true as well. But man, it's 2024, and my mother passed on September 18th of 2020. And what I have realized almost 4 years later is that it does not go anywhere, which is loudly said in John O's book, which this album is based off of. This is a joint album, no question. We grow around grief. Like, there is a sobriety that on this side of heaven, I won't see my mom again. But I will continue to age and mature and grow. So I grow around it is what that bar is.
Nice. Yeah, let's keep moving. Move on to number 3 on everyone's going through it. I love the part where you're just talking about how we're uneducated about grief.
Boy. I mean, yes.
Yeah, it's something that number one, I think about grief, I just think about somebody passing. But one thing that you introduced in this album, and John O also in this book, is that we grieve around topics. We grieve around seasons of life. Like, I had to grieve the idea of like my denomination not being the only one that was right, because that's what I was told growing up. I'm borderline reckless, young in my faith, because I'm telling people that what they ain't got and what they do got.
Yeah.
But then when I had to get challenged by that, I was like, well, wait a minute. Like, I had to like let that part kind of die.
Yeah.
And be like, dag, like, and or just like going off to college and realizing that like I might not make it out of here with a piece of paper.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because this is harder than I thought.
Yeah.
And it's like this. So jobs, relationships, a version of your kids, a version of your spouse. It's just you're going to be grieving a lot of different things throughout your life. So,
yes.
But we're uneducated, I think, on how to deal with grief. But then also the fact that we do have to grieve certain things. So yeah. So I feel like I'm talking too much, but I love the album. It made me think. It made me think so much. So that was my thoughts on everybody's going through. Is there any thoughts you had about that particular part?
You know, it's kind of humorous, kind of sarcastic, kind of inappropriate. The one of the sentences I hated hearing after my mother passed was, "I'm so sorry for your lost." LOST. In that, like, man, we don't even know how to say that sentence right, let alone how to actually be there for someone when they're grieving. But that's other people. And I had to take the log out of my own eye and realize I don't know how to grieve. So I'm like, I am actually ignorant and uneducated in how to grieve certain things until I begin to grieve them. And you just kind of learn along the way. So it's a double bar in that, like, none of us really know how to grieve certain things. And I think it's okay for us to accept that, in that I may not grieve the way you grieve. And everybody thinks there's only one way to do it properly, and that's to cry for weeks. But I'm fatigued. And I haven't cried in weeks. So there were points of time that I felt guilty that I wasn't crying because, the handbook on grief says when you are sad, you cry. And it was like, no, I'm angry. I'm frustrated. I'm confused. I'm tired. I'm eating too much. I'm, finding myself in different conversations that I shouldn't be because I'm uneducated on how to grieve.
Man, that's good. That's good. Moving on to These Tears, number 2, my second favorite bar. The part about you kind of making an analogy with Netflix of how sometimes we just feel like we just want to fast forward through life, or just want to like pick and choose where you want to be. It reminds me of this movie Adam Sandler had back in the day called Click. It's called Click.
Yep.
And the movie was actually filled with some bars. Like the whole premise of it was fire, because it was like he had this huge remote control and he can just, whatever life he didn't want to deal with, he just fast forwarded. Let the good times roll a little bit slower.
Right.
But the remote control started to like learn him, like TiVo. And then it started speeding up through stuff. He was like, hold on, he like kind of lost control. So that bar reminded me of that. So talk to us a little bit about that concept of comparing it to Netflix and canceling seasons and whatnot.
I mean, 2 things. That's just where we live, bro. Netflix, Prime Video, HBO Max, Hulu. Like, we are a microwave generation, or a microwave culture. Give me what I want and give me what I want it now. Give me what I want now. And we do have the option of pulling up these shows, and if we like it, not only can we stay in it, but we can choose different seasons. And if we don't like it, we can exit. And it's like the scriptures are written from an agricultural standpoint. And I genuinely believe that the Lord is a seasonal God. And there are certain seasons you cannot rush winter. Like, it's going to snow. It's cold outside right now. And as much I got these fly Mifflane shorts, shorts that I want to put on, it will be asinine for me to put them on in the snow. Because you cannot rush seasons. And one of the seasons that I believe everyone would want to rush is grief.
Yeah. It's like, why would you want to stay there?
Exactly. So accepting the sobriety that you cannot rush your seasons, you cannot change your seasons, and you cannot choose when it's time to exit, specifically with grief, because the exit looks different if you can even call it an exit.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've grief has been something. I haven't had a whole lot of death in and around me. My best friend passed away in 2009. Played college basketball with me. He actually passed out on a basketball court, and he actually, like, it was crazy to think that that's how he went, playing, like, hooping for real. And I do feel like I grieved it well, but there's like I have like a handful of songs from him that when I hear the songs, I think of him.
Yeah.
And for a long time, I didn't listen to those songs anymore. Some of them were gospel songs. Some of them were like random, like hip hop songs, just because like that's what we were listening to in the dorm room.
Right.
But as I get older, I remember me and my wife. My wife, she loves like. Well, actually, we love it. I'm not gonna lie. Just driving around, looking at houses, looking at the landscape, do with the house and stuff like that. And we were riding through, and one of those songs came on. It's actually a song by Dietrich Haddon. It's called Amen.
Okay.
And that song came on. And I immediately started crying because it reminds me of E. Marsh.
Yeah.
And I used to skip it, but now I just let the song play. I'm halfway smiling and crying while listening to the song. So now I've gotten to a point now where like when those songs come up, I don't skip them no more. I'm like, no, I miss my homie. I'm gonna sit here, I'm gonna cry, and I'm gonna be laughing at the same time. And my wife, she just sat there in the car with me. She just put her hand on my leg. The kids are in the back seat looking at the big houses. And I'm just like, I'm okay with this. I'm okay with being able to just be okay with this emotion. Because a lot of times even when people cry around us, we try to stop them. It's okay. Stop. It's okay. It's like, no, like the more okay, I guess I'm just trying to learn and grow. I'm trying to learn,
bro.
And letting that out has it's been a blessing.
The Lord gives us emotions on purpose, and they are gifts, and the attempt to suppress them, I think, is dishonoring to the God that gave them to us. And that's something I've had to learn. You know, I'm not a consistent crier, but I have, even in something I'm walking through in my life right now, I've learned that the tears are refreshing, and to let them fall rather than to try to stop them. Because really what I'm doing is, especially if I'm doing it with other people, it is because I'm uncomfortable. And, you know, so it's like, man, let them tears fall. They, as the song says, they do hit different, but they need to fall.
Yeah. And that makes me think of something with the fact that this being a hip hop album, it has gospel roots. Hip hop is a place where people are rough. People are tough. There's a lot of machismo, a lot of bravado. Did you have any thoughts about having a hip hop album that's themed the way it is? Like, what was that thought process like?
I think twofold. One being Paul, the Apostle Paul, and the other one being Kendrick Lamar. The Lord's strength is shown in my weakness. He uses the foolish things to confound the wise. So God's perspective is so much different than ours, and the things that we have been taught are strong or can be strong, but the things that we have been taught are weak are actually the things that I view as my strengths. Like, I'm very tapped into my emotions, and I've seen that strengthen relationships, strengthen conversations, strengthen scenarios, strengthen my own self-esteem, strengthen my art. So when I hear that crying or emoting or whatever it may be is weak, I just kind of, you know, move past that, because it's like, well, that ain't what the scriptures say. And it's definitely not what, you know, Apostle Paul said specifically and intentionally at different points in time in the New Testament. But then also it's kind of like, ain't nobody gonna tell Kendrick he not barred up. Ain't nobody gonna tell Kendrick that his catalog is not, you know, bulletproof. Ain't nobody gonna tell Kendrick that he is a lesser artist because he put Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers out, which is a full album on grief. I actually think, it takes a here are my emotions and not hide them behind some of the cultural machismo that you referred to.
Yeah. Well put. Very, very, very well put. There's literally, I could have chose 5 different bars and they all would have been just as dope as the 5 that I presented. This is one of those recap countdowns where I really feel like it's impossible to pick my favorite 5. So with this being my show, what I did is as I'm playing my favorite beats, as I play some of my favorite tracks throughout the project, you're gonna hear some of my other favorite bars throughout. So you can feel free to speak on those throughout the show if you would like. But with that being said, let's go ahead and hop over to my beats.
Okay.
4 beats.
Highly unlikely you'll find another like me. My mind ever so slightly unwinds inside my psyche. Sometimes when ain't no noises I cry. I'm disappointed in my life, ain't how I dreamed it die. I'm trying to grieve it inside, that's where I keep it. No way I let you see it, I keep that on the DL walkie.
Okay.
Here today. After you looking backwards, face plastered on happily ever after. Face shattered. Give me your light, your light. I've been living the silly all night. I've been living on for my whole life. Them wasn't even words. Felt good though.
Okay.
Let's go. This ain't new, I've been here before. Knock, knock, haven't been at the door. Sent about 4. Trying to find my peak, I'm chasing. Windy nightmares down my street, I'm Jason. When did nightmares climb out my sleep and place themselves in my face to replace themselves? I'd hate to sell you pipe dreams, rather be blunt. All my searching for worth and working was a fallacy, huh? The cookie crumbled and still.
Yes, sir. So those were my 4 favorite. I hate saying beats with some people because this is production. This is full scale production. So those are my 4 favorite pieces of production. Man, let's start off with number 4, Life of Your Dreams. I just feel like as a producer, I feel like you're very patient. I feel like you don't. I feel like some people I feel like your beats are very involved, but it's like that guy who's like, they're trying so hard to kick it and be your best friend. It just kind of comes across as like, dude, just kind of chill. I feel like that's what some production comes across as when people are trying to accomplish a lot in it. But I feel like yours, you have a way of it not coming across that way. It's just very slowly, just it builds. So, I attribute some of that just because of like you actually play. You actually really play the key. So talk to us about Life of Your Dreams, that production on there.
Yeah. I'll say firstly, what you just said is very encouraging to me as a producer, because as I grow and year by year, I'm actually trying to say more with less. So I'm working on minimalism because sometimes I feel like it's too much going on. So the fact that it's not translating that way is wonderful. Life of Your Dreams started with a sample off a track lib. I don't remember what the name of the song is, but there's one little section in the bridge where the sample says, with love on my mind and things like that. And I just, I'm from the school of Jay Dilla. I'm from the school of Kanye, Pete Rock, Black Milk, Madlib. Even big producers like Timbaland and Dr. Dre. It was like, this is all built on sampling. So the entire production, even the back end where I break it down with the chords, is all built on the sample. Man, I can't even tell y'all how many people have had this beat.
Really?
Yeah, it's been in the folder for, a few years. And a lot of times, and I'll land the plane here so we can move to the next one. A lot of times, because I'm a producer and an artist, sometimes other artists, and I don't say this as a knock, but other artists don't see the vision that I have for the production. So sometimes it might feel too minimalistic, too sparse, and sometimes it feels like it's too much going on. But that's because in my mind, I'm like, no, you're supposed to bar up right here, then lay back right here, and then come back with the melodic hook and extra. Like I can see all of that when I'm making the beat. Life of Your Dreams was called Love on My Mind. And it's been sent out to a few of your favorites, but it was for me. And, the Lord knew that when I made it. So that's how that song came about, or beat came about.
Nice. We Go On, the scratching, the breaks in there. Those are really nice. Talk to us a little bit about We Go On.
Yeah, We Go On. My reference point for that was J. Cole's Love Yours. Like, if you listen to We Go On and then go listen to Love Yours, you'll hear my I'm looking to Ill Mind to find the right snare and hi-hat and X, Y, and Z. Again, the sample spoke to me. I sent the sample to the gentleman singing on the song without drums. Like, yo, man, can you just kind of riff over this while I'm working on the drums and things like that? And then I haven't done an album without my homegirl Ashley Merrill since it's been a while. As to not spend time thinking through that. So I sent it to her. She sauced it up. The scratching is actually my voice.
Wow.
I didn't have time to, like, when I made the beat, it was called We Go On because I made that beat and wrote the verse at the same time.
Yeah.
The name of the beat at the time, and I can pull up screenshots or John O'Can or whatever. It was called We Go On in parentheses needs DJ. Because what you hear on the record in my mind, I'm like, no, I'm gonna get Promote. I always call Promote or Effecto, God rest his soul, to do my scratching, and I just never got around to it, and I got used to hearing what I heard, and it was cool, so yeah, that's
crazy.
That's me. Yeah.
That's what's up. That's the type of stuff that you don't. Those are the stories that I love doing these things about, because you get to hear just like how long the album how long the song actually took to get together, if the beat did get passed around and finally landed back home. So I'm loving this. Number 2, No Shot, Hold On, the organ, the beat change. You had quite a few beat changes on this project, but Hold On, the 808 was just like, it was so heavy. That was one of those ones where I had my nice over-ear headphones, but it's something about the car test. Something about car test. And, so I only got to listen to that song like maybe one time in the car so far, because I got sick this week. I haven't been able to get to work and things like that. But yeah, so talk to us about Hold On.
I was picked 3 of your 4 beats were beats that I just knew, like, oh, he gonna do the first Chasing Ghosts, These Tears, and Life of Your Dreams. Those are the 4 I just knew you were gonna pick. So like, your ears are on and up to hear for some of the intricacies. Because even with Hold On, when I heard it, I just knew you was going for the first beat, but you went to the second one. Hold On, the first part, a lot of this album was written in 2021. Most of it before John asked me to write a soundtrack to his book. It just fit. The second portion, however, that's a new beat. I knew I wanted to bring the energy down, as we had been up, for a couple songs in a row in the first portion of that song, but I knew where we were going. We're going into some heavier content. So I wanted to start to stair step us down, which I think you can feel that trajectory in the album. So I wanted to go soulful. And luckily for me, not only do I know these guys, not only does their art exist, not only do I know these guys, not only do I work with them, very, very consistently, like weekly, and I call them family friends. I just went and pulled up some Soul Surplus stuff, John, Joel, Smythe, Wes, Witt, Pudge, the whole crew. And I found a sample that was perfect. Put a break beat in an 808 under it. I think my approach to the drums was more Kanye's Heard 'Em Say, where it's just a break beat.
You know what? Yeah, I hear it.
Yeah, just a break beat with the 808 under it. That verse, just to throw a little razzle dazzle in there, is from 2017. That verse is 7 years old.
Wow.
It never came out because if I get on a song with a rapper, you guys probably already knew this, but just in case you didn't, I am trying to murder them. Like, I'm trying to kill their whole career. Because that iron sharpens, right?
Right.
I can only think of 2 times where I did not win the fight. And the streets is saying 3 with Jackie Hill Perry, but I'm gonna let that ride.
It's funny because I want to ask you about that. Like, what is your thought process when you're a feature artist?
Bro, Jackie is otherworldly. This is a conversation from years ago. She was like, "Rap is easy for me," and you can hear that. So she went crazy.
I can hear her saying that in her voice and her cadence.
Yeah,
like, so matter of fact.
Triple H bar, like, she went crazy. But the 2 songs I'm thinking of, Dream Slave from Wake Up with Eshawn Burgundy. Eshawn's verse is perfect on that song. And then I had a song in 2017 with Belief that never saw the light of day, and Belief washed me, like got me up out of here.
Really?
Oh yeah, bro. Belief is, he's a media conglomerate now. Let's not forget he all the way barred up.
Yeah, he does this.
So
it's funny you talk about features. Sorry to cut you off, but I gotta say this is because I was the other week I was driving. I had like my entire Spotify playlist, like every song on shuffle. Yeah. So I it goes all over the place. But Propaganda, who's like one of my favorite, like I love Propaganda. He's like what people look to Snoop as. Like I would be like if I met Prop, I would probably just be standing there staring at him from afar, like, dang, that's Prop. Like I'm a big Prop fan.
Yeah.
But that song you guys have, No Entiende.
Yeah.
Your verse on there, like, and I loved Prop's verse.
Yeah.
And then I heard your verse. I was just like, what is going? Like, that's one of my favorite songs by both of you guys.
Slide on in there because that verse got me into a little bit of trouble. In that there's a bar in there that I didn't know was someone else's. Prop is to reverse engineer. Prop is on my Mount Rushmore. I just told him this a couple weeks ago.
That's what's up.
The 4 artists that made Swoope are Lecrae, The Truth, Sho Baraka, and Propaganda. So yeah.
Wow.
But with Belief, he texted me, I don't know, maybe 4 years later, like 21, 22, like, yo, we didn't do nothing with this song. I ended up putting it on this verse on another joint. So this verse has just been sitting, and it spoke to the heart of Hold On, and even where the production went, since we're talking about the beats. So,
got you.
Kind of full circle.
Nice. And we are at number 1, so Work Real Hard. Also, I love the transition from Work Real Hard from Life of Your Dreams to Work Hard. Number 1, just like the sequencing of the album, like it just built on one another. And I really felt like how Life of Your Dreams, how that went into Work Real Hard. You actually kind of had like that sample, or maybe it's the vocal sample. You kind of start sprinkling that in at the end of Life of Your Dreams, and then it goes right into Work Real Hard. And it was the piano again, like that beat just felt like it was not rushed. It was the piano, it was the sample, it was just the harmony was just there, man. So talk to us about Work Real Hard.
Yeah, I mean, again, your ears, bro. I got the idea for the album to flow as one from Jono. Like,
okay,
the songs were finished. He was like, man, I would really love, what was the album? He referenced PJ Morton's Watch the Sun, which flows as one. PJ's not the first, not the last. Wake Up almost does it. So this isn't even the first time that I've done this, but the intentionality for doing it for We Go On definitely 1000% came from Jono. However, this was already there. This connection from what was Love on Your Mind to Work Real Hard was already built in. So it just worked with what Jono.
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah. If you go look, the song is called Mr. Nobody. I can't think of the artist right now, but the song is called Mr. Nobody. The vocal sample that I pulled out of the song sounds nothing like that. So it was a real like Jay Dilla with Singers Unlimited. They have a song called Claire. He pitched it down to make it sound like it's saying player, and you get Slum Village's beat player out of that. Just kind of taking something and making it totally different. And you hit the nail on the head with the piano. That song started with just me playing those chords and the vocal sample. The drums were referenced from Drake's it's Drake and Jay-Z, all that back and forth on the internet. We on tennis that you got to do something. It's off of Certified Lover Boy. I can't think of the name of the record right now, but my reference for the drum, Fair Trade, that's the name of the song. My reference for the drums were Fair Trade, but the piano and the vocal sample were already there as one.
That's nice. That's nice. So yeah, the production is fantastic. And let's go ahead. Let's keep moving. Let's go to our three favorite, to my three favorite tracks. Let me make sure I'm queued up here.
Yeah.
I think we're good. Let's do it.
3 favorites.
How many times we seen it? How many bodies the count is increasing? By the time that you find out you're grieving, the cycle's repeating. This is American Pie. This is the part where we barely surprised. This is the part where we scared to just drive. Sick of the coffins and burying lives. This type of loss that can wear on your mind, wear on your soul. Where do we go? How do we cope when somebody's plotting their shots while we shopping at grocery store?
The best thing that ever happened to me. Stop guessing and get it out of the can. But stress game ain't on the brink of the feet. I'ma lay it at his feet.
What do you do when the life of your dreams seems to only have life in your dreams? Jeez, how I act like all of these things passing me by and decreasing my mental. Long as you don't take your eyes off me, God not a man that will lie about it. I'm staying in it till I'm out it. Gotta keep pressing through my doubts and remember the miracle whip on the bread with the 5,000. When it looked fishy and I flounder, gotta tap into the high power. When I look up in the sky cloudy, then I look down and see I'm drowning. I know you up there with my mama. You'll come and give me, you're my father. I tried it my way, but why bother? I've been holding on for my hope.
Yeah.
So man, let's start off with Coffee Skin. The album starts off with a talk by John O talking about coffee and grief and making that connection, which is a very dope just like backdrop to like this whole concept of grief. It's like everybody understands that because either you're a coffee drinker or some people just flat out hate coffee, but they have an opinion on coffee. I'm not much of a coffee drinker. I have my tea sitting right here, but I mess with coffee every once in a while if I need to like wake up at work. But so it introduces this concept of coffee and adding sugars and milks to it to kind of dumb it down. And that brings me to Coffee Skin because I feel like sometimes as Black males especially, and Black women, Black women as well, we have to sometimes code switch. It's almost like we have to like using that same metaphor, we have to like add milk to ourselves to make ourselves more palatable to them. We have to add sugar to ourselves to make ourselves more palatable to other races at times. And another reason, was that intentional with the Coffee Skin?
That actually came later as the song developed. You can hear in the sample, "We Want Freedom." So for a while, this song was called Freedom, and it only had the first part, where forgive me if I get the year wrong. I believe it was in 2022, where there was a shooting at a grocery store in Buffalo that was racially motivated. You can hear those bars while somebody plotting their shots while we shopping at grocery stores. So that was it was written around that time. And then I'm referencing Dylan Roof and like, y'all took that man to Burger King after he just killed, you know what I'm saying? So for a while, this song was called Freedom. And what I did not want to let it sit with, like, our racial trauma is not our identity. So even when the history of African Americans starts with slavery, it's like, man, there was so much before that. Our racial trauma, it does not define us. It is not our identity. So I didn't want to let the song sit there. So the second part came, I wanted to use the same sample, which is in there. Take that flip that I did from the first one, flip it again. And just in my bar writing, it was like, no, we're a people of strength. We're a people of character. We're a people of pride. We're a people of heart. And that's where the heart gold came from. And Skin Coffee was just written very naturally, but God ordained in that I wasn't trying to connect to the coffee metaphors and other songs. I was trying to write authentically, and the Lord weaved it to where like, oh, there's this coffee theme that goes all throughout the album. So it was unintentional, but I would argue God ordained.
Yeah, that was dope. That was dope. And a quick, I won't go into all the detail, but there is a song off of Sunshine that I can honestly say I've only listened to it all the way through twice in my life. And I'm obviously, I'm a big fan of yours. I couldn't listen to it. TSNK.
Yeah, it's tough.
I couldn't listen to it.
Yeah.
And I had to, speaking of grief, and kind of never really thought I looked at it this way. Growing up, I had a very idealistic mindset. I almost believed the hype about. This is gonna sound bad. It might get me in trouble, but I don't care. Almost believed all the hype that America had. I remember saying out of my mouth, I said this on Facebook, late 2000s. America is easily the greatest country in the world, and I was arguing with people about it. My blood brother, my oldest brother, sent me a message. He was like, "B, come here." Because the comment that I made out of my mouth, I said, if you took 100 people and line them up in front of all the countries in the world, at least 90% would come live in America because it's America. And he was just like, he was like, and I've always been like, I no shame in saying, I was always just kind of naive growing up. I just thought I believed the best. I believe the best of people. Like, not only is glass half full, but hey, look, it's in a nice room on a table that has 4 legs. The temperature is perfect in here. Like, that's just kind of how I roll. And and when racial things popped off around me, and it did throughout my life, but I just always just kind of swept it under the rug, like, it's okay. It wasn't until the early 2010s to where my other blood brother had a run-in with law enforcement and ruined his life, covered it up. I saw it in real time, and I was just like, but I was so locked into, like, and I wasn't gonna try to say all this, but I wasn't there for my brother the way I needed to be, because I was so locked into like this mindset of like, it can't be this bad. It can't be this. So I wasn't going to the court cases. I have a voicemail that I've spoke out to my brother, like 9 minutes long, just to send it to him, just to apologize for not being there for him. I still haven't sent it to him. He'll probably watch this, and I need to click send on it. But it's, I had to grieve this idea of just like that we have it all together.
There it is.
And if we're honest, I think that we all need to do that. That maybe we're not all cracked up to where we say we are. So I didn't plan on saying that, but hey, you're here.
I love it, bro. I think grief brings up a lot out of us that we didn't know was there, or even that we did know was there and just didn't want to say out loud. You said one thing, I was choosing to believe the best, which is borrowed from 1 Corinthians, where it's like, no, love believes the best. And what's powerful about that is, in order to believe the best, you got to see the worst. You got to see the worst and the best. And you're choosing to believe the best, but you got to see the worst. And I think there's just some ugly truths about America that are realities that, listen, man, if you're going to believe me when I say that God is good, I also want you to believe me when I say America is a racist country, because I'm telling the truth in both of them. Now, we're going to choose to see half full at times, because at times I don't even think that sort of view is necessary. There does need to be sobriety in order for things to shift. But in order to believe the best, you got to see the worst. And the first half of Coffee Skin very clearly calls out the worst in America. Right. And I know it's abrasive to hear those words that you just said in your ear. I understand that. But at the same time, it's like, I wouldn't have believed it. I was on that side of just like, no, everything's good, until I actually saw it. And people who know me know I'm not putting on for anybody. I'm not a clout chaser. I'm not any of that stuff. When I can tell you that I saw things disappear, evidence, all this stuff, it still is jarring. It's jarring for me to sit back and think like, they really tried to like mess over my brother. No, they didn't try to. They did. They did. His faith was shaken. It's I can go on and on, but I won't. But I will say that that's part of the reason why like my show is called the Be Positive Music Show. Like the whole Be Positive thing isn't because like the old me of just seeing all the good. It's understanding how the worst of it, but still understanding that God is still good in it, and that I still will I'll still trust in Him being sovereign and walking this thing out. So man, this is, and that's why I'm so excited that you're here, is because this album brought all this out of me. Like I'm sitting here thinking about like my life choices, how I grew up, and when my mentality changed from
being like this young, naive, just everything's awesome guy to like getting shown firsthand is what this world can be. So that was only Coffee Skin. Let's keep moving. Let's go to Life of Your Dreams. That was my second favorite. The Scooty Wop. That was the Scooty Wop collaboration. I didn't know I needed that, but Scooty, he's super talented. Like when I first my introduction to him was Spin Back. That was one of my first introductions to him.
Okay.
Super hype record, just fun.
Yep.
Fun for no reason too, just a super fun record. And now he's getting more into like his singing and worship stuff. And I'm like, okay, Scooty has multiple gears, and I love that because some artists they pop in and they just have like maybe one gear. I'm like, all right, like they can kind of score on one level, like in basketball. Like there's 5 levels. People think there's 3, but there's 5. You got a long range, mid game, and you got to finish at the rim. But then also you got post game and you got ISO. It's like basketball. I'm a nerd, so I don't want to go down that road. But Scooty talked about how talented he is and how that collaboration came about.
So I'll speak briefly about his talent and my respect for him that led to this collaboration.
Yeah.
I think all of the things you just said about Scooty Wop are true, but then also what a lot of people don't know is he's a producer too. So I can't say every song, but I know a lot of the songs that he puts out, Spin Back being one of them. Let me not say that, but I believe he made that beat as well. So his talent is otherworldly because he can rap too.
Yeah, he can.
He does the singing stuff, but Scooty is barred up, almost a whimsical sort of fun, which is missing in the game. So very talented. But if you go on my Instagram page and parallel when I first put Life of Your Dreams up, I think in November, and versus the song on the album, there's a bar missing. And the bar had an explicative in it. And Scooty, in a very respectful but confident manner, was just like, I don't condone that. So if you want to keep me on the song, you have to change that bar. I've never had an artist do that. I don't know if it's intimidation. I don't know if it's whatever, but I told him I respect him more as a man.
That's dope.
Now than I do as an artist. So the fluency and the collaboration that you hear on Life of Your Dreams is really founded by 2 men that respect each other enough to be honest and on his end and then on my end exercise humility, because it was like I could have kept it in there, sure, and I got a few other hooks done so that I could keep it in here, but this was the right one. And that was actually Jono's call. Like I had gotten another cat to finish it and he smashed it. Shout out to Gold Frame. But Jono was like, I'm going to move heaven and earth to get Scooty back on this song. So there's a higher respect that I have for him as a man. And I would hope that the same is he with I, and that there was humility that had to be exercised because I mean, I don't change my bars, I write my real life, so sometimes I feel like I'm lying. But in this case, it was like, no, I actually respect the way that he came about it, and I think you can feel that in the collaboration.
Yeah, and that's dope just to be able to have like that accountability, like peer to peer, but then also have somebody like Jono, pastor, who you can really like lean on, and they can help massage that decision too, because that's something that's very needed. A lot of times, like you said, you can feel like, man, this is. I think a lot of people feel like, artists feel like these are like my children. My songs. Yeah, and this is how I envisioned it. So that's dope. That's dope. And number 1, Hold On. It just nothing. The second I heard that song, I was like, there's nothing's gonna be able to beat this. If anything beats this, then this song is. I mean, this album is just through the roof. So Hold On is my favorite. I think you had a beat breakdown of this on your channel, right?
Oh yeah, my Instagram page. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So talk to us about Hold On.
In 2021, there was a batch of songs that I wrote. A specific label was looking to, a bigger label was looking to invest in Native North, Natalie and KB's baby, specifically Natalie. And they were like, we want to hear new music. So can you come up with a batch of, 7 to 10 songs in the next week? And one of those songs was Hold On. So it had been sitting for a while. I do a lot of work with Soul Surplus, as I said, and also another sample pack company on Splice called Sound Doctrine, which is specifically gospel samples. So I make me along with my little sister Kimberly Porter. God bless you, Kim. I love you so much. And her crew, Darian, Taylor, Chrissy, Janae, Jazzy. We make gospel samples, and the sample that you hear in the song is one of those. And we make the stuff we like. So it's gonna have the chord changes in it. You know, it's going to be a little off kilter. It's not just gonna be your straight, 1, 4, 5, 6. It's going to have some deep gospel roots, some deep jazz roots. So the making of Hold On came from a sample that was made, I think, in 2019, but the beat didn't get made till 2021 when this label was looking to buy or invest in Native North. So the beat and the verse all came, at least the first part, all came in 2021. And when I tell you, Jono begged me for this song. So we were getting down to the wire of finishing the album the second time. What y'all hear is the fourth version of the album. We were getting down to the wire, finishing it the second time, and I had these songs. Ooh, I'm about to let the cat out the bag. I had these songs that were sitting from, this interaction with the record label that didn't work out. And I was like, oh, well, this is going to be my next album. And I was getting ready to give you the title. I don't want to ruin it because it's a really big vision.
Okay.
But two of the songs, Hold On and another record called Mountain, I'm like, oh, let's just put these on. We go on. I end up keeping Mountain for this one. But Jono was like, man, I got to have Hold On.
Yeah.
So it was a roller coaster ride to get to where we are now. But the first part of Hold On that you hear, all of it is from 2021. And you can hear that in I didn't go back and switch the demo verse out. That's just the first, I'm feeling this beat. Let me just record something. So I'll have a vocal inside of Logic to produce around. So I'm like, I'm a son, I don't live it. Like, it's a demo, but it felt so good that I didn't want to change it.
Right. And is that how you write? Sometimes you get the melody and then you fill in the words later. Is that how you write sometimes?
50-50. That is definitely a popular way to write, and it's been that way for ages. I just heard Rod Temperton's demo to Michael Jackson's Pretty Young Thing, and he ain't saying no words. So this is the way a lot of people write, I think, because of the type of rapper that I am, and I'm too much from the school of Lupe Fiasco. It's like I'm writing words first, and most of the time, I actually say 70-30, I'm taking the words that I've written and attaching cadence and melody to it rather than, let me just throw some melodies out and then attaching lyrics to it. So I actually do it backwards than most people.
Nice. One thing I've been hearing throughout this entire conversation is that you have multiple versions of a song, and kind of sitting with a song for a while. In today's society, it feels like people, and I love the artists that do it. I'm fans of plenty of them that do it. Who they'll come up with a song in a week and they'll put it out, and it's good, and it's actually good. But at the same time, making a song as dope as Hold On, but still waiting and playing around with it, and it not coming out for how long?
3 years.
For 3 years. I think that I think one thing that I've noticed, specifically in CHH, is that you got to stay relevant. You got to keep putting out stuff. I can't keep up with some of these young artists. Like every time I look up, they got a whole new EP. I'm like, have you lived enough life to write a whole nother? I don't even know. I'm not hating on it because I'm a fan. I play it all on my show. I'm not hating on it at all, but I find myself enjoying those artists that do take time. They take time away and really sit with the song, and like you said, have 3 and 4 versions of that song before they settle on
8, 9, 10, bro.
Dang, that's a lot. But the thing is but when it comes out, I mean, the response. I think you saw my tweet that I was busy at work. I was running a retreat at work, and I couldn't listen. And my entire time, I was just swoop this, and I was just like, I can't wait to hop on and check this out. But I feel like that's what happens when you when time is taken and you really spend and you labor and you really work your gift, And I think when it's all said and done, you do have something that was slow cooked.
There it is.
Prop has that song. I think it's called Slow Cook, where he just talked about you gotta let it marinate, you gotta let it sit. So I applaud you for just like your patience. I feel like your production is patient. Just how you go about releasing your music is patient as well. I want to honor your time, so let's keep moving. And let's get into my 2 favorite features.
Yes.
2 features.
Into that deeper pain feels natural. I couldn't have grown up faster. Wait, is this that cruel world that I'm gonna wake up to? And asking Swoope for wake up to. Ain't con still feel like we both been dreaming. Where's that peace the Lord gonna take us to? So where's that joy that comes in morning? That long night returns me to my youth. That little boy gonna face this torment. I miss my mom's.
Holy work was best when it wasn't so attached to identity. The portrait, the trinity, and corporate. We portents, not a spirit. I'm tired of feeling if I don't get it. This girl world stops spinning, the clock ticking. I'm working to death, I'm clocked out. I'm shooting shots, got boxed out. You pop mouth, he curse ground. You dig it, don't you? You feel naked without success. Too many fix to flaunt you. Won't take it when you go. This ghost money haunts you.
Oh yeah,
man. When I was putting together this, I almost like on my graphic, instead of saying Jackie Hill Perry, work real hard, I almost put the Jackie Hill Perry.
You should have,
because she is the Jackie Hill Perry. That's how I talk about her around the house. She is Well, time out. So you had both of the goats on your album. You had Jackie Hill Perry and Lecrae. It just dawned on me.
Yeah, so, I would consider both of them goats, and did it without even blinking an eye. Man. So thank y'all,
man. Jackie, man, that verse, and this is one of the ones that a version of this song came out a year's past, right? And and it struck me then, but then for some reason it just kind of fell off my radar, and I almost kind of forgot about it until the album came out again, and I was just like, man, like you just said, like she says rapping is easy for her, effortless. Like I love when she freestyles. She's just like, it seems like she's like doing something else at the time, like she's knitting or she's like cooking, or she's just like, I guess I will stop and I will rap for you little earthlings. And she just spits out fire.
She is gifted with words. So speaking poetry, her books, her rapping, a lot of her exegesis.
I got a book right here.
She just knows how to use language.
Yeah, she does.
So when she says rap is easy, you can hear that. Like she is not straining in that verse, and it feels no different than every other verse that she's written. Yeah. So like the Triple H bar, you can hear I added the verse is so good that song had been out, it had been mixed, it had been mastered, it had been released, that I added an ad lib. It's very quiet. But you curse ground, you dig it, don't you? Which is already a bar inside of like a series of like 6 bars in a row, and you can just hear me in the background go, whoo, because it's just like she's not stopping. No, she didn't take any bars off. You know what I'm saying? She's just really good with words. Really good with words.
She is a problem, and I love hearing her. Like you said, her and her husband Preston. Like he's I follow his apologetics page, and I just be like, man, how does this dude? He knows what the Mormons believe more than they believe, and he's like breaking down like their books and stuff, and having them flip the pages. I'm like, man, dude's a beast. So shout out to the Perrys, man. Shout out to the Perrys.
Big time.
Let's talk about Taylor Gray on "I Miss My Moms." Now Taylor Gray's album came out a few years ago. Man, the title just slipped my mind.
Find a Way to Smile Again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man. That album was very dope, and I remember doing the album review for that one and thinking like, man, how do it's doing the album review, you want to be excited and you want to do it and everything, but like the subject matter felt like you was like in therapy, and also it just felt like heavy, but I was like, it's much needed. So I felt like this was a perfect match with you and Taylor on I Miss My Moms, because obviously him and Christian lost their lost their mother as well. So
Yes.
how did this collab come about? It seemed like it was pretty like it was effortless, but talk to us about this collaboration.
So I mean, Taylor, that's my like brother in real life, and I am saying this concretely. I don't think anybody's pen is touching Taylor in our circle, in our genre. You may have your preferences, but if we were to sit down and dissect bar for bar, Taylor has not missed in a few years, like a long time, if ever, honestly. And then when it came to, like you said, the therapeutic nature of find a way to smile again, which was an album that me and Wit solely produced. There was this beat that I made. It was just a vocal sample, some keys, and a bass, and it was called Speak Truth. And that ended up being the title of that song that he wrote to on his album, Find a Way to Smile Again.
Okay.
If I have any control, I'm never doing an album without Taylor Gray on it. If I have any control.
Got it.
And when it came to like my list of features, I feel the same way about Nat. It's like, okay, I got to get y'all on the album. Taylor already had a verse that was perfect for the song that I was trying to make. It was just a part of Find a Way to Smile Again. So what you hear at the beginning of I Miss My Moms is verbatim the song Speak Truth from his album, Find a Way to Smile Again. The first, I don't know, 12 to 16 bars. I added some light instrumentation on it, and then we went into It Is Well, which is another sample that I made from Sound Doctrine with Ashley Merrill.
Yeah.
But Taylor didn't write anything new for this. Like, that verse is from his album, Find a Way to Smile Again. It was just so perfect that, you know, John and I approached him like, yo, bro, please. And he was like, of course, go for it. So, yeah, just another one of the, like, fire, I would say the fire pin in our genre that just very willingly said, Swoope, whatever you need. Even if it's a song that's already been released, like, do whatever you need.
Yeah. Taylor's definitely one of my favorites. Matter of fact, the very first album review I've ever done on YouTube was Taylor Gray. The Love Don't Last Long. That was the very first album review I ever did on this here platform. Very first one. And then number two was this guy named Swoope. The album was Sunshine. So I kicked things off with Taylor and Swoope. So I definitely had to show Taylor some love. And man, Touch Not Mine Anointed. That's a classic to me.
And we working on number 2. So
let's go.
Yeah.
I'll take it. So and while we're talking about features, you just mentioned Natalie. These Tears, like that was one of the songs. I didn't get to highlight it here because of the format, but well, I got to talk about one of the bars in there, the Netflix bar. But I don't know how she does it. Like, she's one of those ones to me that's like almost like Jackie O'Perry. And I know they've done a few songs together in the past, but like I don't think Natalie can do anything wrong. Like she's literally incredible. Like,
I'm laughing because it's so
she
true.
sings These Tears, They Taste Different, and I'm smiling. I'm like, how is she doing this? It's like,
and it's so interesting that hook was not for this song. Me, Nat, my wife, and I think the young lady's name is Xenia, gifted writer. We were in a studio at Parhelion here in Atlanta. And this was, years before We Go On. My mother was still alive. And the young lady was having a tough day. Like, we had came in to write some hype stuff, and she had just had a hard day. And Nat was in the booth, and she was just telling her, like, man, just tell me how you feel. You know what I'm saying? And as she was talking, Natalie just kind of spit out a long freestyle verse, and a part of that was These Tears, They Hit Different. It's over an acoustic guitar loop and some shakers. So as I'm forming These Tears, and it didn't start with Don't Give Me Cliches. The verse that I originally wrote started with 3 letters RIP, you know, down there. But I'm forming the instrumentation. I find this sample on track lib with the violins that is just very emotional. And at the time, Natalie was walking through some proactive grief in the illness of her father, who would eventually pass. God rest his soul. So me asking her for a feature just kind of felt wrong.
Right.
Like, you know, like you walking through real stuff that I've walked through before. I'm not trying. I was not in the place to create for others. I can write for therapy, but I wasn't in the place to create for others at the time, so I didn't want to ask her for that. So I just started searching my computer for where is Nat, and look what's sitting right here from a session that's never gonna see the light of day. And she was hesitant because it wasn't as crisp and pristine
I couldn't tell
as she wanted it. Well, I told her, I was like, no, Nat, like, the emotion in your voice, I know what it's from because I was in the room that night, but I'm like, it is going to translate. So I kind of had to convince her, to let me use this, and it worked out perfectly.
Yeah. That was one of those songs, like, obviously trying to pick 3 favorites off of this track. Like, that was one of the ones that was like right on that line of like, man, like it was either that one or Coffee Skin. And I was just like, I went with Coffee Skin, but These Tears, man, that it absolutely translates. I remember you guys came to Dallas 2019, 18, somewhere around there. And I used to have it, but I lost one of my hard drives. Talk about something that I had to grieve. I lost a hard drive that had literally like going back to like 2003 memories, videos. Lost that mug on a plane. My heart still hurts. But on that, I have a video of from that concert where Natalie's like freestyling and people are like writing stuff, and she's like, it was crazy. And it was almost like, no, you did you got mics in people's ears and you telling them what to say. Like, there's no way. I can't remember what it was. But she
Native Night.
It was
and she used to use this beat that I called biking, excuse me. We would use the same beat every night, but it was a different song every night. So what you heard was real-time talent, and it was different in every city. So taking that level of talent and then mixing it with the vulnerability that I'm expressing in the song, and then the cherry on top is my brother, Rich Perez, just speaking some very, very needed and poignant words about, you know, how the church responds to grief, excuse me. You know, if you say doubt, people say but faith. If you say, you know, all those sort of things. So just the quilt that song ends up being a warm hug, but it's pulled from so many. Like, Rich's words are from one of the We Go On tour shows in Houston from 2022. So yeah, just kind of letting the song develop until it's right, until it's ready to serve. And I think it's, for me, it's a better dish.
I think so too.
When I just let it,
And speaking of Houston, you did something really clever on My Hope in You. At the end of the song, and shout out to my homie Bars and Beats. Actually, he's the part of the reason why this interview is happening, because he he's my little homie. He reminds me of what I would have been like if I was 19 years old in Christian hip hop. Back then it had social media, because that homies everywhere supporting everybody. But he tweeted this as well about how you kind of hear like 2 voices a little bit, and like almost sounds like a live performance. So talk to us about what you did on Hope in You.
So that's twofold. In the second or third iteration of this album, you know, finishing it, John wanted me to incorporate audio that we got from the We Go On tour show in Houston. So there's a clip at the end of Life of Your Dreams where I'm saying, you know, and I'm grieving the dreams that I thought I had. That's from that clip. Rich's speech on These Tears is from that clip.
Okay.
Excuse me. And then what you hear on My Hope in You is from that clip. And it works in 3 different ways. One, it does what John asked me to do because John is the executive producer of this album. Like the original, vision and initiation of idea came from Jono. Not even just in his book, but in the request to say like, yo, can you write a soundtrack to the book? And even along the way, helping shape things. And the live audio that you hear, it was his brainchild. So it works there. It's a shout out to Jono because he's from Houston. But then selfishly, bro, it helped me because on the verse that I recorded, I actually wanted to re-record it because if you listen, it's kind of dirty. I recorded it in this room here at my home, and it's not the best audio quality, but the emotion in my voice, I'm like, I'm never going to be able to replicate that.
Yeah.
Again. But I did not say to open up our eyelids and see that hope's where God is clearly. So the fading in of the voice at that specific point is very purposeful because I wanted y'all to hear what I was saying to land the plane on that series of bars. So it's a whole lot wrapped up even just that live audio.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. And again, just being very very into the details of that. That's dope. So I want to honor your time because I know you got to get on tour here soon. So what's next? I know I heard in this conversation that Touch Not Mine Anointed 2 with Taylor Gray. So I'm looking forward to that because I'm a big Taylor fan. Are there going to be more dates with the We Go On tour?
Oh, definitely. Oh, excuse me. I would like there to be.
Okay.
Jono is not in this room, and that is his baby. That's his world, his ecosystem. But I just think it makes sense to do it again on a plethora of levels, but specifically with the album finally being released. I would think so.
Yeah. My brain just automatically went to like, what if this was maybe somebody with a lot of money can come in and help make this vision happen? We pray for that. But it seems like this is something that should be like a documentary. Where people are able to sit down and talk. Well, obviously John O is able to minister and talk through this concept of dealing with grief, but then also be able to talk with a lot of different artists, like especially like within CHH, like you, Taylor. I know Andy Mineo was talking about when his mother passed away. There's like death and grief is a part. We've had legends like DJ Effecto, DJ Official. We've had a lot of death in and around this community, and it's inevitable. It's going to touch our lives. But what if there was some type of documentary where it's Jono talking about dealing with grief, also the live performances from the tours you guys are on, and obviously you already have a soundtrack for it. I just think that I think that this conversation and getting educated on grief is something that's needed, and I feel like it's been a blessing in my life to be able to understand that. Like Natalie said, like these tears, like to embrace these tears. And I think that something like this is very needed. I'm happy that the album is doing very well, and looking forward to more. You guys got anything else you got planned coming up this year that you can speak on?
Yeah. It's you, so I want to give you something. Also don't want to put my foot in my mouth. There are 2 other albums planned this year.
Oh wow.
Yeah. As I talked with my wife, it was like, I don't want to wait. You know what I'm saying? And on the cool, this wasn't the album that I was planning on putting out this year.
Got it. Gotcha.
Yeah, the album that I'm planning on putting out this year, it'll be evident when it comes out. So that's the 3rd one, but then there's a 2nd album that's planned that's got more how do I say, live elements incorporated with it that I think is going to be really fun. So my goal is to put 2 more albums out this year. Touch Not Mine Anointed 2, and then there are a lot of production things that I'm working on that I think will that are really fun, that'll see the light of day this year. So those are my plans, but a man has plans in his heart, but it's the purpose of the Lord that prevails. So
absolutely,
if that's not his purpose, we'll see. But those are my plans.
Got you, man. This has been a pleasure, man. Happy that you got a chance to stop by.
Yes,
and
sir.
if there's is there anything that I guess the fans, the CHH community can be praying for you about right now before we sign off?
Protection, I mentioned it earlier, like I'm walking through something right now, like in real time.
Got you.
That I'm a human being, so I'm not going to shirk accountability, but I also can recognize the enemy's attempt to destroy, roaming the earth like a roaring lion, seeking who he can be friends with, no, seeking who he can have a conversation with, no, seeking who he can tempt, not even that, seeking whom he may devour. So yeah, just protection over my family and myself and my wife, in that, you can think you're gonna respond to a scenario differently until you get in it. And praise the Lord for his grace and protection in even some of my foolish decisions. But it's like, I can feel the enemy shooting fiery darts. So yeah, the Lord would cover the Swoope family.
We got you covered, man. We got you covered. We're gonna keep you lifted, and we're gonna go ahead and sign off. So for all you guys listening, thank you so much for being here. And until next time, peace in, confusion out, and be positive.
I put my hope in you. We